I told you we'd be back, and here we are, the 1 o'clock edition of the Cup Insider. Once again, Daniel Fennel, Alan Gray, this time Livingston, Lure, Pro, Stetson, Blaylock. How we doing today, Stetson?
Oh, we're doing good. It's a little warm out here, but other than that, it's nice. It's perfect.
You've been spoiled with the air conditioning, so this is where it's at, though. This is the heat. It's the kitchen.
It wouldn't be too bad to be outside, though, if we were fishing today, would it?
No, I had a chance, so getting to fish the Cup is an awesome experience, but just couldn't get it done this week, but there's always next year.
And it's not just you, man. I mean, we've talked to numerous pros over the last few days. We've read all the updates. We've seen all the interviews. This tournament's really been tricky for a lot of guys. I mean, you just look at it from the very beginning. David Dudley whacks him. David Dudley doesn't whack him. Philip Jerbeck whacks him. Philip doesn't whack him. It's just, here and there, 1 minute, the next minute, it's got everybody second-guessing themselves.
Yeah, you can call it tough, but we've had a lot of tough tournaments over the years, and guys still figure out how to catch them. This lake, you said it right, it's tricky. I didn't have a very good practice. Go out there and catch a good bag the first day, and then the second day, the fish aren't there. I don't know if you just catch all the fish that are there, if they actually move on, leave, whatever they're doing. But it's definitely a challenge to figure them out here at Lake Murray.
We've seen guys, like he said, it was whack-em. It was a whack-em. It was a whack-fest. I loved it. But, we've also seen guys, like you said, that are figured out, that are the consistent guys. We kind of keep talking about the same guys, but it's because the same guys are the ones catching the fish. Is it that they're just running new water? Or, why are some people so consistent and some that are in the top 10 not getting those consistent bites?
Well, I really can't figure it out because Jacob Wheeler's probably one of the best there is at this time of the year, running new water, just trying new things and catching them. And I hear he's struggling today. So, Scott Canterbury, I hear he's catching them, but kind of doing the same thing. I feel like they're running new areas. But that's what's so tricky about this lake is you think you don't catch them in one area. Well, let's go try the same deal in another area. Early, you're trying to get it early, get it going, and I don't know what's going on out there. It's still tricking me, and I'm not even out there. I always look back on these events and say, what could I have done different? But I really don't know. It's just that tough of a lake right now.
We just got our last show was with Philip Jerbeck, and he said the same thing. He said, I caught a 4-pounder in this creek. I pulled out of it. The next creek down looked just like it. I was like, I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to catch another one. Nothing.
Yeah, and that's what I had. There was 3 little coves side by side. All 3 looked exactly the same, and I only caught a couple bass out of the middle creek. The other 2 looked just like it. Not a single bite, and I caught 2 or 3 in the middle one. I don't know what causes that, but this lake is different from any I've ever been to.
We had a little bird here on the set with us that told us that you got to fish with him the last time we were here. Might have heard of him. He wears one of them Kellogg's jerseys, But you were a co-angler last time we were here in 2008. I know in tournaments you try not to fish history. You got to fish the lake the day of or the year of. You can't go in memory. But did you get a chance to fish any of the water that you fished last time you were here?
I did, and you have to go with what you find in practice. And I tried some of that stuff, and I think I fished it on the wrong day. I just didn't get it going. I don't know if it was the baits I was using or just the time of day or the wrong day, but I just didn't get it going, found some stuff down the lake, so that's what I ran with, and I guess it was a mistake, but looking back, I wished I would have gambled and maybe just did what we did back then and just seen where I ended up, but you can't second-guess yourself. You just got to go fish what you find, and I did that, so I'm happy with the way it turned out.
That's why you guys are who you are. Last year you were the Stetson Blaylock or the Cody Meyer of this year. You had such a strong running for Angler of the Year last year. If folks don't know, the Livingston Pro can get it done because you went neck to neck with the Livingston Pro Andy Morgan last year. So, you know exactly what it takes to get it done.
I do, and it's all about being consistent, and if you keep knocking on that door, one day it's going to open, and, I'm just ready for that door to open again. I have won one of these events, and not a cup, but I have won a tour event, and I'm so ready to do it again.
It won't be long.
It probably never gets old, I'd say.
No, winning an event is one of the best feelings that any angler can ever get because that's what we're out here striving to do, and it's a lot of hard work through the year. So when you win, it's just that ultimate reward, and, man, it's been a while. I'm ready to do it.
And I'm just getting into your private life just a little bit. I talked to your mom, after the first day. And I was like, how's Stetson doing? And she said, man, he asked me the other day, he said, do you understand how bad I want to win this thing? How bad I want this to happen? And she said, sure I do, because she's raised you, man. She's been around you your whole life. She helped give you that killer mentality that you've got inside of you. And it's just one of those deals where it didn't line up this time, man, but we all know that you're one of the best out there, buddy.
Well, I like to be consistent, but you want to win. And the thing is, there's only one winner at each event. So I could have had the best week of my life and ended up second or third, and still that's a letdown because you want that trophy no matter what tournament you're fishing. You want to be first. And if you can't be first, it's kind of a disappointment. But you got to keep on striving for perfection. And you're never going to be perfect, but you want to get as close as you can get. And one day you'll win.
Better believe it. I'll say it again. It's not just you this week. We've got 45 guys that went out there, and other than maybe a couple that have kind of moved their way up the board here going into day 4, this lake had everybody tricked this week. Let's talk about somebody that kind of got it figured out at the right time. Straight Talk Wireless Pro Scott Canterbury. He did pretty good day 1, pretty good day 2. Day 3, he started making it happen, and me and Alan were talking about it. And actually I can't remember somebody else, but day 3 is kind of the moving day. If you're going to get them, day 3 is a great day to do it. They had to get out of that top 20 cut and into that top 10. Scott Canterbury got it done, and it sounds like he's getting it done today too.
Well, the biggest thing is once you make that top 20, it all kind of starts fresh. The weights here are so tight that you can be in 20th place and make that move into the top 10. And all that boils down to is being able to either, A, stick to your game plan if it's been working, or B, make the right adjustment. And I guess Scott's making that right adjustment out there, and he's doing it again today. And, I like to say it, there's guys that, for some reason, every cup they show up to win, and Scott's one of those guys. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he wins this thing.
What were his weights so far this week, Alan?
He's had a great week, and you nailed it. The guys that are the true sticks of these tournaments show up at the Cup, and he is showing up, 10 pounds on day 1, a little over 11 pounds on day 2, but yesterday, 16 pounds, and I believe up to pretty much the minute.
11 or 12 pounds
11 or 12
right now.
pounds now, and he still has, almost 3 hours to fish, so it's kind of, right now, what we're talking about, the Scott Canterbury show, but yeah, it's these guys that are growing, 10, 11, 16, today's unknown.
And that's what it's about. It's about making the adjustments each day, qualify out of the first round, get into that top 20, then move into that top 10 and make it happen. And Scott's good enough to do that. And, if he gets one more big bite, I think he'll have a good shot at this thing.
And I know it's not the way you guys like to go about this, but this Cup has almost seemed to me like even though you had a practice time before, day 1 was kind of a little bit of practice just because the conditions changed so much from practice. Day 2, even a little bit of a practice day still, even though it is the competition already.
It is, and that's one thing I always try to do is don't get caught up in practice too much because that's all it is you get 3 days to go look at the lake and find what you think you're going to be able to win on. And, if I don't find it in practice, I'm not going to live and die with what I thought I knew in practice. I'm going to keep looking for new stuff through the tournament. And this week for me, I thought I had it figured out a little bit on the first day, and it just stumped my toe the second day. I don't know what happened to those fish, but Scott's got something figured out, whether it be a bait or he might have a couple of those good key areas where he can make a pass through there and get one bite, and then come back 2 hours later, get one bite. And that's all it takes. You only have to catch 5, and that's the biggest key that a lot of people overlook is you don't have to get 20 bites a day. If you catch 5, you can win.
Your tournament leader right now, Brent Ayler, 39 pounds, 1 ounce is where he's sitting after 3 days. Scott's in 3rd place right now. But guess what? There's somebody in between them named Brian Thrift from the Chevy team that he doesn't look like he's going to back down at all either. And Anthony Gagliardi right there with 37 pounds. I mean, it is so tight from 1st place here to 5th place that it's really anybody's game.
Yeah, and Lake Murray, even though it's fishing tricky and it's fishing tough, if you make that right call and you pull in that right cove or pull up on the right point and those fish come up and break, you can win this thing in 10 minutes. And that's anybody's game in that top 10 to win today. They just have to go out there, make the right call, make the right move at the right time, and blow it open.
Over the course of the week, we've seen, I think, all 5 of the guys in the top 5 say either on stage or in an interview or on Twitter that they each have a spot that they can go get a limit. So they've all got something in their back pocket. It's that 10-pound limit But you know what? It's a limit, and that's been a struggle for just about everybody else in our top 10. Like Wheeler, he had 5 fish on the first day, 4 the second, the third. Even though he's still in the top 10, he's caught the right fish. But to have that spot that they can rely on to go get a limit, get that 10 pounds if they need it, or they may have 16 pounds with 4 fish, and they know where they can go get one. But speaking of a guy that could be around the 16-pound mark that we're talking about, what do you know about Steve Kennedy this week? What's he doing? Do you know? Did you see him when you were on the water? What's the word on the angler side of things?
Well, Steve Kennedy, first of all, he's a great angler, and he's one of those that can make something out of nothing. When nothing's going right, he can make the right adjustments. I've actually fished with him when I was a co-angler, and I got to see firsthand the adjustments that he can make. I actually have no idea what he's doing. I never saw him one time in practice or the tournament. I'm assuming he's probably fishing up a river somewhere, and I know there's a lot of big fish up those rivers, and if they're up there and biting, he'll figure it out for sure.
The report is he may have 2 in that 5-pound range today. And I know he was only 9 pounds out going into it, which is a pretty good setback on a tournament like this. But he's made up that difference in 2 fish, and so everybody ahead of him is going to have to make sure they get it done, or he might sneak up on them.
Well, that's a big key is once you get those 2 kickers, if you could get 3 more solid 3 or 4 pound fish, which that's hard to do this time of year on Lake Murray, but if you can do that, you have a shot from 10th place.
We do know he's got the 2 beast bass from right here. He is running a long way. He's the only one that, according to the reports, is making that long run. He's fishing it pretty much to himself, especially today when you got a 55,000 acre lake and there's only 10 of you. We do know he's got 2 5+. He's got another one that's 2 1/4. He's got his limit. We talked earlier to Philip Jerabek, the Castro Pro, and he went from 19th place to 1st place with one of them 17-pound bags. So the toughest hurdle he's going to have is getting over these Brent Ehlers that are so consistent, catching 13 to 14 pounds a day. The Brian Thrifts that had 14, 10, and 13. You know what I mean? Those guys have just proved that they can catch their 14 pounds a day, pretty much where he's going to need the monster bag, the career bag, to win $500,000.
Right, and those guys that are up there, the Brian Thrifts and the Brent Ehlers, those guys don't mess up. I've seen it since right when I started that those guys stay consistent and they catch them every day. Whatever they have to do to figure it out, even if it's tough, they're going to go out there and they're going to catch their fish. And I just feel like it's going to be hard to pass those guys. But it's Lake Murray in the summer. It's tough, and if they slip up just a little bit, a couple of those giants can push you past them.
Somebody else that's been just super consistent all week is Matt Herron. He's having a great tournament so far. He's sitting in 6th place today, I believe. Yep, 6th place, and his weight so far, 10-4, 10-1, 11-15. He's just been doing it. We know he's got 3 in the boat already today, so there's a lot of fishing time left still in this day.
There is, and Matt Herron, he's kind of quiet, kind of silent. He's the silent killer, and it would not surprise me for him to come in with a big bag and not say a word about it, just come sliding in here and get up on stage and weigh them in. Yeah, and so he's one to look for, too. He's caught a lot of big bass, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's fishing up the river, flipping, fishing super shallow. So they're up there for sure.
You got it. How about Casey Ashley now? Had a good tournament so far. He did what he needed to do. He got into the top 10. He's sitting in 5th place with 36.7 right now. He started this morning shallow, and this has been the story for a lot of guys. Shallow, deep, deep, shallow, shallow, deep, shallow, deep, deep, shallow. Just, and that all comes back to what we said already, is that it's just kind of a tough, tricky tournament right now. I know he finally ended up back to shallow, got back to where he caught his limit yesterday, and he's got some in the boat now.
Well, the thing about Casey is, he knows this lake like the back of his hand, so it really doesn't matter what decision he makes. It's probably going to be a good one, whether it's shallow or deep. It's just a matter of making that right cast. Not only do you have to know the lake, but you have to put it in front of them when they're ready to bite. And you can't control those fish, so he's got a lot of work to do, and I think he's the right guy to get it done. It's just a matter of making the right call at the right time. We're
glad to have him fish on the FLW Tour this year, but I did hear him say directly from his mouth, he fished the tour this year to fish this tournament. Not to say that he was an automatic shoo-in to even make this tournament, because this is the toughest tournament to even get your feet into. But this is the scary part. He opened up the tournament with only 9 pounds on day 1, and then he went up to 11-14, and then 15-9 tomorrow. He has several spots that he hasn't even touched. We can just assume, because like you said, it's in his backyard, and he spent a lot of time fishing with FLW, and we hope that he fishes a lot more time, but to be just on this lake.
Yeah, he's probably spent a lot of time out here pre-practicing and practice, and like I said, he knows it like the back of his hand. And I can promise you, if he doesn't win, it's going to be a disappointment because he's had this one marked on the calendar, and he wants it really bad. And he's gonna pull out all the stops today. He's gonna fish every spot he thinks he needs to fish to win. And I'm pulling for him. I hope he gets it done because it's fun to win on your home lake, and I think he'd enjoy it.
Big words.
Not to get too far ahead in the future, but I believe we announced the next Forrest Wood Cup coming up. Did your mouth water just a little bit when you heard that news?
It does. I've got a bitter taste in my mouth from that lake, and I fish it a lot throughout the year. I don't live but about 45 minutes from it, but I made the cup there once before, and things changed on me that I've never seen that lake do, and so it's kind of a disappointment, but hey, it's coming up next year. I got to go out there and fish really hard to make it again. It's not easy, like you said, making this tournament, but I'm looking forward to the challenge next year. I'm going to work extra hard, try to win Angler of the Year. That way I don't have to worry about it, but I want to be there. I want a chance to win that cup at my home lake for sure.
I think you've really got yourself some good goals set ahead for you for next season. Stetson Blaylock, Livingston Lure Pro for the 1 o'clock edition of the Cup Insider. Once again, Daniel Fennel, Alan Gray. We'll see you right back here at 2 o'clock.